This is the best form of coffee if you love coffee, and you should love coffee because coffee does a lot of interesting stuff to your brain and body. Caffeine, coffee, 2 cups every day is recommended by British Liver Trust for those who are suffering from fatty liver. It protects liver health and brain health. And one of the things that you know about coffee is that when you have got a project to do, you want super attention, super focus, we will have caffeine. Why? Because the molecule caffeine in this actually is very much like the molecule adenosine, called the fatigue molecule, which builds up in the brain after intense brain activity. Brain is a small structure. It is only 2% of your body weight, but it is highly active metabolically, and it consumes 20% of your oxygen consumption. And as you do deep thinking and doing stuff, thinking, what can brain do? Brain can only think, right? Brain can find solution, brain can analyze, brain can think about old memories, dig into all the experiences in the past, then try to analyze, make logics, arguments, and then brain can imagine. All of this is what? It's actually thinking, electrical impulse. So when the brain had enough, it becomes very hot and it builds up all the metabolites, including free radicals and oxidative radicals, all the damaging stuff. So brain needs to shut down. And when you shut down the brain, and I will tell about a protocol that I follow called non-sleep deep rest. Because when your brain is supercharged and you're doing a lot of thinking, which I do, particularly if you suffer from ADHD type tendencies, or you get flights of ideas, which is kind of to outside world, it might seem why Dr. Ghosh is jumping from one topic to another topic, but brain has got connection. So brain, I don't know whether you follow any conversation in a pub or in a group of friends, and you will see how one chat or gossip will lead to another, to political news, to world news, to again maybe your cat, and all are connected. But if you just see the beginning of the conversation and end, it will feel like there's no connection. So anyway, so if your brain is super active, supercharged, you're doing a lot of work, you will feel fatigue. Your brain will send you signal, shut down, slow down, take rest, take a walk, go freshen up. And it is done by the fatigue molecule. Now, caffeine will block the receptors for the fatigue molecule so that even if your brain is tired, you might not feel fatigued, which can be dangerous. Okay, so that's why don't overdo. Only 2 cups. Yeah, I will never do more than 3 cups. 2 cups is 2 cups, and majority must not take caffeine after 4 p.m. ish. Yeah, or 3 p.m., 4 p.m. because it will disturb you falling asleep. It will keep your brain highly focused. When we want to fall asleep, we don't want brain to be focused. We want the brain to be defocusing, right? The other thing that caffeine does, it changes the white fat, which is a bad fat, into brown fat. What is brown fat? Brown fat is metabolically very active in a sense that it can burn calories because it has got brown. What is brown? Brown is mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell where we burn stuff to make calories, to make ATPs, the energy currency. So the more brownness you get in your tissue, the better for mitochondrial health. And I'm seeing a lot of problem with our general population is because we are losing the mitochondria. Probably you don't know, the mitochondria is actually an ancient bacteria which our cells engulfed. And without this mitochondria, without this bacteria inside the cell, we cannot process energy. So if you feel less energetic, not happy, then it is what? Your mitochondrial health. Have you heard of the disease PBC, primary biliary cholangitis? What happens? The chief complaint of PBC patient is extreme fatigue. Nobody knows why this fatigue comes. Why? Because the blood test that you do for PBC is anti-mitochondrial antibody. So it damages the mitochondria. So if your mitochondria is not working, you will feel fatigue. Yeah, like fibromyalgia, the many diseases which we think, sometimes we cannot prove, but we postulate, we conclude, or we infer that it may be mitochondrial health. Now, rather than trying to prove, do I have bad mitochondrial health or do I not, why don't you do some stuff that improves mitochondrial health? So that's the positive health. Because there is a tendency amongst us to try to dissect, and I love that because, it's best to be scientific, but sometimes you can't. Either you live in a part of the world where there is no access, even in, Western world, sometimes you don't have access. So fine, let me do something that will improve my mitochondrial health. What else improve mitochondrial health? Aerobic exercise, oxygen debt. So if you walk and put a mask on, like an oxygen depriving mask, but again, it's caution, because if you suffer from lung condition, etc., you shouldn't try this. It's called a high altitude mask. It's a form of cheating, because if you run using a high altitude mask, you're cutting your oxygen supply less, so your body feels anoxic, not enough oxygen, and body very quickly get used to it. So over days and months, your hemoglobin level will go up. So as if you are living in a high altitude. It's like people in Nepal, people in a high altitude place, their hemoglobin is high because they want to extract more oxygen. So their red blood cell volume goes up. So if we artificially induce that state, hypoxia, by putting a mask, high altitude mask, very tight fitting mask, way tighter than COVID mask, and then you run, you walk, but make it gradually, make the high altitude mask a stronger value as you become better with this. So artificially inducing a state of oxygen debt or depriving oxygen, you can actually improve mitochondrial health. It's a kind of hormesis. Hormesis is a concept that you give a little bit of stress. A stress that doesn't kill you, make you stronger. You probably heard this. Hormesis can be cold hormesis. You give the body a cold shock. You can give the body a heat shock. And there are very interesting heat shock protein, HSPs. You go to sauna, you go to take a steam bath, you feel happy. Why? Why? It improves your immune health. So all of this is natural ways of modulating your immune health, which has become a very focus of attention after COVID. Everybody is an expert on immunological system, etc. But simple things, simple. To have a good immune system, you need to feed your bacteria in the gut, because they are integral. Gut health is integral. All the signaling molecules come from the gut into the body. And the other health is skin health, because another big immune system lies just under the skin. So make sure you look after your skin, you look after your gut, rest will be easy peasy. Give yourself some aerobic challenge every day, an anaerobic challenge in which you don't have oxygen but your body is still pushing, which is like a high intensity interval training, which is heavy lifting. The problem is now we are in a state that we cannot do because we are so unfit. So whenever you're going on a health journey, see where you are, take 4% improvement, 4% improvement, 4% improvement, 4%. Don't try to jump from couch to 5K. Yes, okay, but that couch to 5K should not be in 2 days. Do you know what I mean? It should be over a span, so that you don't overtrain, you don't injure, because once the injury happens, you will lose your motivation and it'll be disaster. You want to be more healthy, not less healthy, right? You don't want to go back. Anyway, so what I was going to say, the best coffee is this coffee, not instant coffee, which is processed artificial, and you know my disliking for anything processed. Everything should be artificial. Oh, this is not mushroom antipasti. I recycle stuff. So this is freshly ground coffee, Arabica coffee. And sometimes you can mix it depending on which flavor you want. The roasting, when you roast coffee beans, there are 400 chemical reaction that happens in this. Okay, and the smell is different. The kick you get is different. So you put water there, coffee, freshly ground coffee. It should be airtight, and then you will have the coffee. Oops, sorry, I forgot. I poured the coffee into this and pour some hot water to make. This is a 250 ml, because there can be smaller coffee like a 200 ml, but this is a 250 ml. Anyway, now I'm going to write my morning pages, my bullet journal, while I drink this. And there's a concept called nappuccino. What is nappuccino? You drink coffee. I don't know why you call cappuccino. It's just a coffee, Americano type. Or it can be, Keralian type, because I don't like why we should be calling it Americano, because caffeine is not American thing. I connect coffee more to Italy and India, because southern part of India, the Kerala, that area is extremely rich in extremely good quality coffee. And I still remember when I was a kid, we used to go to a Madrasi household. We used to call them Madrasi because they come from Madras. Now we call Chennai. And as you enter, the whole household is so smelling because they were roasting coffee. You know, they get the coffee beans from Madras, Chennai, and the Kerala, that belt, the coffee belt, Nilgiri, I think Nilgiri mountain range. And that's so, it's way like 100 times better than the smell you get in Costa or Starbucks. Anyway, so I am not going to call it Americano because I will just call it, you know, what should I call it? Italiano? Or maybe Indiano? Or Keraliano? Keralite? You can tell me what I should call it. Have a great day. Happy Saturday.